What's good, y'all? Elite Live Streams, we back. How you guys doing out there? What's good? It's your boy Brandon B. I'm back with another one, man. It's fight week, y'all. Fight week. Devin Haney, Brian Norman Jr. You guys know right here on this channel, we've been promoting this fight since day one. You know what I mean? Since this fight was announced, we've been out here supporting, posting, doing a lot of video commentary, doing a lot of previews, really hyping up this fight. And you know that we had to come through for fight week to get really hyped for this one. I'm really excited, man. Brian Norman Jr. is coming through with a lot of heat. You feel me? He's got that certain representation. You know, he's going for the he's trying to mess up the plans, right? He's trying to mess up what Devin Haney's got going on. He wants everything that Devin Haney's got, and he is willing to do what it takes to take it. And I like that energy. I like that energy from a young champion who wants to get out here and make it happen. You feel me? So shout out to Brian Norman Jr. But Devin Haney, the champion, former undisputed champion, okay? And then went up 140, got another belt. This will be him going for his third belt, all right? Champion in 3-weight divisions, some historic stuff, undisputed in one division. And who knows, maybe he becomes undisputed at 147. There's definitely a path for him at 147 to be able to get those belts. We got, I think we got a fight between Ryan Garcia, and then he's going to be fighting for that 147 belt at the WBC, right? So there's, you know, some Mario Barrio smoke right there that Devin could get after this fight with Brian Norman Jr. There's also some smoke on the other side of that as well. So, I mean, you know, the possibilities are endless here, guys. And we're really excited because right now, boxing is definitely taking a big forefront right now. Turki Al-Sheikh has taken things to the next level, and he's been really pushing for the big fights and being able to, you know, make these big fights, not letting the money or the promoters get in the way of big fights. And I've definitely been, you know, watching that from like the outside perspective. And it's something that I think boxing has needed for a really long time. And it's great to see that, you know, you got a guy like Turki, right, who wants to make a difference, who wants to take boxing back to where it used to be. You feel me? And I definitely can appreciate what he's been doing as far as, like, you know, from a boxing perspective. Now, do I know exactly what he's going to be up to with old Dana White? I'm not sure, man. I'm honestly not sure. But I will say that, you know, Dana White will have some hoops to go through, and he will have some things that he has to figure out, because right now everybody's watching boxing, and boxing hasn't been in this place in a while, where you have good fights, the best fighting the best, the young guys trying to fight young guys. We just saw the fight fall apart with Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul, but now Jake Paul will be fighting Anthony Joshua. So we'll see how this goes, you know, but it's not looking good for old Jake, right? It's not looking good for Tank either. I mean, Tank's got, you know, he's got bigger problems than fish to fry, I'd assume, because of, you know, the pending case that he may have to deal with, and then as well, kind of him losing that opportunity to make whatever he was going to make from that Jake Paul fight. So I would say that has cleared the lane now for a lot of boxing and boxing fans to get behind real fights, right? Because you got Shakur out there, right? You got young guys like Abdullah Mason, right? Then you also have David Benavidez, who's going to be the main event of this fight, right? And it's crazy because, you know, I'm not going to lie, like the way that we've been promoting the Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. fight, it honestly feels like that's the main event in comparison to Anthony Yarde versus David Benavidez, which is going to be the main event. You feel me? Well, so, I mean, the Mexican Monster, he's definitely got something to say about him making a statement. I definitely like Anthony Yarde. He's a game opponent, but I do think that Um, Benavidez is going to be too overwhelming for this guy, and I just don't think that Anthony Yard has the style or the power to be able to stop Benavidez on his attack to come forward. I don't think he has anything for him in that department. And I'm very curious to see, how that kind of plays out, because there is definitely a huge backing behind Benavidez taking his own way and going his own route to kind of take that next step into his superstardom, right? But since we're talking about Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr., you feel me? I thought it was important, you know what I'm saying, to talk about this fight and continue talking about this fight, because like I said, we've been promoting this fight since day one here on this channel. It's been something that I think, for us at least, like, I saw this as one of the biggest fights in boxing this year, and it's very exciting to kind of see, where these guys will end up, right? Because there's a big component of this fight game that I think wants to see Devin fail, and I think there's also a big part of this fight game where they are using Brian Norman Jr., right, as this catalyst to be the one to take out Devin. And so, I mean, like I said, there's definitely there's the threat, right? There's a threat of not only Brian Norman to knock him out, but there's also a threat for him to be able to do what he has to do to get the win, right? And I think we've all kind of seen, from a certain perspective, right, where there will be a big difference, right? And I think today and then fight night, right? What is going to happen on fight night? Who's going to be the one, you know what I'm saying, to prevail on fight night, And I've been watching a lot of the interviews. I watched the Face Off, and it definitely seems like Brian's taking on the hard work aspect of things. He wants to be the guy who's going to be the hardworking, keep his head down. I'm not worried about all the flashy stuff. I'm coming to knock you out. That's what he's basically trying to, convey to the fans, right? And then you have Devin Haney, who is considered the superstar, flashy, very up on the next level, upper echelon boxer who everyone wants to take out, who everyone likes to compare him to the next Floyd Mayweather, right? So you have those two contrasting styles, those two contrasting ideologies that are going to be going up against one another in this clash of not only styles, but I think as well mentalities, What I kind of don't like is I've been seeing, a lot of Brian Norman Sr. saying some very questionable things about Devin Haney as a person and Bill as a father. And I didn't really find that to be too cool, because I wanted to just keep it boxing. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it boxing, right? Let's just look at the skill for skill. Who would be the ones who, would be, superior? That's all we need to worry about, is who's going to be, the superior boxer, who's going to be the superior puncher, who's going to be the superior fighter, right? And so I didn't like that, they're getting a little personal now, and they're trying to, make things a little bit weird, in a sense where I could definitely see how, instead of Brian Norman Jr. just focused on the fight, he's bringing other elements into this, as far as like he's really trying to, bait Devin Haney into, being upset, or, having, an angry spirit coming into this fight. And I definitely can see how, there's been a real push lately for the fans to try to make it seem like, Devin got forced into this fight. Now, let's make it clear that Devin had a hit list, all right? He had a hit list of guys that he wanted to fight, including Brian Norman Jr., and he put it out there. Hey, these are the guys who want to fight at 147. I want the smoke. Let's see who says yes, okay? He sent it out to Boots first. Boots said no. All right, cool. He went to Brian Norman Jr. Brian said yes. So now we got a fight, right? Now we got probably one of the biggest fights of the year. You can definitely, you can definitely feel the energy. This is a big fight, has a big fight feel now. That's why I was really excited to start the promotion early on this because I knew that this fight was going to be bigger the closer we got to it, right? And so a lot of, kind of the commentary that I put very early on, at least, if you guys check out my channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you check it out. I got a video about this, right, that I dropped very, very early on in the promotion of this fight, right? And so from my perspective, right? From my perspective, I was like, yo, this is the battle for who's up next, right? Who will be the one to prevail, right? And I was very, very specific about that, about who's going to be the one to take over, who's going to be the next big thing in this division, right? And so I really had to take time to put that, analysis together. But I want to bring it up so we can kind of have a little commentary towards it. I will be doing some commentary to my own content. You feel me? But I think it plays a good part in kind of what's been happening over this, this time I let it develop. And I wanted to bring that into the fray where it's like we have the two youngest, guys in the division, right? Who are basically the two best in the division, if you ask me. And they're gonna be going head to head. You know what I'm saying? So let's check it out.
But once again, we told us to fight him.
We're giving you an opportunity.
He got the belt.
Listen,
He got the belt.
We came to y'all.
He got the belt. He did not.
And that's facts. All right. Devin came to him. He came with the smoke. All right. They came to Brian and said, what's good? All right. They had the hit list. Like I mentioned, that hit list went out. And then whoever was ready, whoever said yes, boom, let's go. And so Brian brought it straight to their grill. And then this is kind of what ensues.
That's what you think. He did not come to us.
Pretty gonna clear it out. You feel me? They gonna clear it out real quick. We got smoke, guys. Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. 147 WBC championship on the line. WBA championship. All right, I was wrong. It's just WBA championship. You feel me? So correction as we go back to react to the video. But correction, yes, I was definitely wrong about that. It's for the WBA specifically. On the line, it's going down, guys. One of the most anticipated fights of the fall. I cannot wait for this one. This one, in my opinion, is going to be the one that decides who's going to be next up. In my opinion, this fight is for that new generation right behind Terrence Crawford. This one is going to decide who I think who's going to be the money man for this division. I agree. Like I said, the money man division. This is it right here. Brian Norman Jr. can dispel all this. He can knock out Devin Haney and become the biggest star in boxing. Trust and believe that. All right. If he wins, everyone will be talking about Brian Norman Jr. after this. Please believe that. All right. But if Devin Haney wins, okay, everyone's going to be talking about Devin Haney. Win, lose, or draw. All right. Whether it's a great performance, whether it's a sucky performance, if he gets the W, everyone will be talking about Devin. All right. It will be the trending topic. This is low key the main event of the evening. All right. We already know what's going to happen to Benavidez, what he's going to do to Yard. All right. That's already predetermined. But this one right here, this one is going to be a 50-50 fight. We don't know what can happen here. And so when I say that this is for the next up, I mean it. Like, this is for the best out right now. All right. The best out. 147 is a wide open division now that Jaron Boots Ennis has moved up to 154. And I think between Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., this one is for the best of the best. You got the dark horse, the knockout artist, Brian Norman Jr., and you got the boxing aficionado, the best at, any division, Devin Haney. Yeah, man, and that's what it is. It's a traditional boxer versus puncher matchup. You feel me? The boxer comes in, he's going to be able to move around, make sure he's using his footwork, his jab, staying behind the jab, and making sure everything is worked behind that jab, right? But Brian Norman Jr., he's going to come in seeking and destroying, all right? He's going to come in to try to knock Devin's head off. He's not going to mess around in here, and you can tell by the energy that he's been bringing in his interviews. Brian really wants to get at Devin, and I know for a fact Devin wants all the smoke, right? Because the more that he brings that energy, right, the better it is actually for Devin, because Devin will be able to defend and counter. So you want to be able to have somebody who's willing to come forward that gives Devin an opportunity to work on his game with his, counter striking. And then not only that, being able to use his excellent footwork to get out of the way of those big shots. You know what I'm saying? Because those are definitely going to be coming from Brian. Please believe that. The dream. All right. This guy's coming up from 140 after just beating Regis Prograis for that title. And now he's moving up to 147. And his plans, in my opinion, if what I've heard, is for him to go for undisputed, which I think is a great idea. And of course, you got a great partner, the boogeyman of the division, the one who's knocking everybody out, big Brian Norman Jr. coming out. Yeah, man, he not messing around. Brian's gonna come. I swear, Brian is definitely gonna. He better step. That's all I know. Because if he don't step, Devin's okay with fighting his fight. All right. He's going to be able to just stay at distance and pick them apart. If Brian wants to come forward, there's opportunity for him to catch Devin, but he has to be able to risk it. He has to want to risk it. He has to go in there willing to prove that he's better than Devin. All right. Of Atlanta, Georgia, just coming off of a great highlight reel knockout of the year candidate fight over there in Japan. Makes his presence felt, lets the people know who he is and how he gets down. And I'm so proud of this guy, because now we got a real impressive style, right? So this ain't just a fight, this is a clash of styles, the ambitions, and a shot at greatness. You know what I'm saying? Haney's precision versus Brian Norman Jr.'s power. It's gonna be a toss-up, man. Honestly, like, as far as like the predictions, this one's gonna be a hard one to choose, guys, but we're gonna go into it. So let's talk about it. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. As we get into this one, let's talk about it. Hey, and look, it's very important, I think, when you are thinking about it from the outset perspective, that, hey, guys, if we're paying attention, right, if we're paying attention to just the style matchup, the style matchup is what's going to drive this fight. I'm telling you guys, because I think Brian has a lot to prove. He has not been on this stage before, and I'm really curious to see how he does under the bright lights, because that is going to matter in this fight. All right. Watching how Brian deals with not only the bright lights, but as well the expectations that are going to come when the fight gets tough, or when we're in the later rounds. How's he going to deal with not being able to knock Devin out right away? Will he switch his game plan? Will he find a different way to find success? That is what we will find out on Fight Night, November 22nd in Riyadh. All right. We will be finding out who's the one. All right. Who's the one, not the two. So first, we're going to talk about the former undisputed lightweight champion, Mr. Devin mixing their ass up. One of the best at this boxing thing. Now, let me tell you, this guy, in my opinion, has some of the best footwork in the division, and in my opinion, the best jab 1-2 in the entire game of boxing. I agree. Like I said, I think he literally has the quickest 1-2 in the game. He's also extremely difficult to hit when he wants to be, okay? In the Lomachenko fight, he took a different approach. He was stepping to Lomachenko, right? Because he knew Lomachenko was a better counterpuncher than he was. So he had to make sure that he stepped, right? And the same with Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, he had a point to prove. He was feeling a certain type of way, and he stepped forward, and that cost him in certain capacities, right? He didn't get finished. Yes, he got dropped a few times, but guess what? That's what happens in this game because Brian Norman Jr. has also been dropped, right? So nobody is exempt from catching the smoke, that's for sure. But I think it's important to mention that Devin Haney having the best jab in boxing, best 1-2 in boxing is going to make a difference against a puncher who is going to try to come forward every single moment of the fight. Devin's just going to bop one, bop, bop, 1-2, 2-1. He's going to be switching up the cadences. He's going to be going up, down with it. All right. Watch. His 1-2 and jab are unstoppable. It's so lightning fast, and he throws it from so many different directions. He can throw it to the body, throws it up top, he switches it up, turns it into a shove hook. He's just really, really good about knowing how to keep that stick out there, right? To make sure that it gives him just enough distance to stay out of the way, be able to dodge his opponent, and then counter with that beautiful footwork that he uses to back that up. That's exactly what it is, man. You guys understand that, like in boxing, it's all about cadence. It's all about off rhythm. It's all about finding those openings. And I feel like Devin has a unique way to find openings through his jab, staying behind the jab. And then, like I said, using that footwork to maneuver and find other positions to be able to throw a different type of punch, a different style of punch, a different cadence of a punch, a very quick but slow punch. You know what I'm saying? He knows how to use those things to get to where he needs to go with the punch. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, outside of Loma, he's got one of the best footwork in the game. And just, I agree, best footwork in the game. Him, Terrence Crawford for sure. Terrence Crawford has underrated great footwork as well. Gotta give it to Errol Spence as well. Errol Spence, the big fundamental. You feel me? It's the way that he's able to turn his opponents, being able to stay right there in the pocket, but also being able to, protect himself, get out of the range, and then return very easily, as you can see, just moving and flowing. That's Devin Haney's style all day. Hit and don't get hit. The sweet science, baby. That's what you want to see, man. You want to see a great boxer who uses his tools to be able to advance and being able to get the win, right? Because Devin, of course, like I said, Devin is a true, pure boxer, all right? So his style is going to be based in pure boxing. And with having the best footwork in the game and the best jab 1-2, that is going to be hard for Brian to be able to deal with. That's just facts. Get that every single time when you see Devin Haney out there moving, grooving, and getting that stick on you, right? Staying safe and, throwing out great punches to make sure that he keeps you honest. And at the same time, if you slip, he will hurt you. So I think that's what you got to watch out for on this one. Now, by no means does that mean that, I'm saying that there will be a knockout or that, there will be, a crazy finish. But I will say that it would be in, Brian Norman's best interest to be on top of his game and make sure that he's being a boxer as well as a knockout artist, because that's what I say. Like it takes Brian. It's gonna be on Brian to not only just think about one game plan. He's going to have to go out there and not only try to knock Devin out, but he's going to have to also go out there and try to make sure that he's also using his boxing IQ and making it a fight. Make Devin fight if that's what you want. If you want to create those opportunities and get those openings, you're going to have to chase Devin and make him fight. And that's what we want to see, because I'm not trying to hear no Brian Norman talking about Devin was running if he can't cut the ring off. All right. Brian's going to have to cut the ring off. He's going to have to do a lot of work. He's going to have to go outside of himself to get Devin. Because if he doesn't, he's going to lose the fight. I know that for a fact. He has to go out there and take risk. He cannot sit back and just wait for Devin to do his thing. Because if he doesn't, Devin is going to win the fight. That's just the facts. And a lot of people, I think, they're not going to be, accepting of that. They're going to talk about, Brian Norman, he was coming forward. It's just that Devin was running. Well, Brian has to know how to cut the ring off. He has to use superior footwork. And he also has to be ready to take a risk. If he does not risk it, he will not get the biscuit, baby. That's just facts. You got to risk it for the biscuit sometimes in life, fellas. Because if not, if he tries to go in there and just specifically box with Devin Haney, I can guarantee you that Devin Haney will win that fight. But if Brian goes in there and tries to make it dirty, tries to get in Devin's face and tries to, get a great knockout, I really do think we're going to see a great fight, because that's only going to push Devin. It's only going to make him fight harder, and it's only going to give him more opportunities to be able to counter using that jab, using his athleticism and footwork to be able to show his superiority. But Brian Norman Jr. is an absolute problem. Yeah, he's going to have to make sure, Devin's going to have to make sure that he's careful and that he stays out of the fire, right? If he stays out of the fire, if he's careful about how he's entering and how he's engaging with Brian, he's going to have to be careful, because Brian will have that power advantage. He will be able to knock Devin out. So he has to make sure that when he's in the fire, he's being careful and he's being mindful, right, of where he is, right? Staying mindful, eyes up, moving, staying small, not allowing any opportunities or openings to penetrate, and then maximizing every single time. Maximizing, maxing that shit out. Devin's going to have to max out on jabs, 1-2s, and incredible footwork, because Brian will come forward. Now we'll see how the weight cut works and if the weight is going to be an issue for Devin or for Brian. I mean, Devin's looking real good, man. He looks in incredible shape. So we got to see how Brian looks now, and deserves every single moment to be on point for Devin, because if not, Brian will knock him out, and that's a guarantee, guys. Guarantee. So next you have Brian the Assassin Norman Jr. I just love when these boxers have just great names that describe their exact style, because the assassin, man, that's what he got to be. He got to be an assassin out there. He got to go out there and he got to attack Devin every single moment. He cannot wait, because if Brian waits on Devin, he will lose. Brian has to go out there and take the risk. He has to be dirty. He has to go out there and chase him down, because if he doesn't, Devin will use his superior boxing and feet work to get out of the way, punch, and not get hit. He better go out there and he better risk it, because Brian will lose this fight if he's not willing to put something on the line. Brian has to come forward, but he also has to do it in such a way that makes it undeniable, right? Because otherwise, if he stays back and he's trying to wait for the perfect opportunity, and or he cannot cut the ring off, Devin is going to whoop that boy. That's just what's going to happen. Devin will be able to use superior boxing and footwork if Brian does not know how to cut off the ring. He has to cut off the ring. He has to come forward. He has to make sure that he's making it a hard fight, because if he doesn't, Devin's going to win pretty easily. This dude is really an assassin. He's coming forward. He's trying to take you out. He's not wasting any time. He's going to come right forward, be right there to hit or get hit, and he's going to take those risks to make sure that he hurts you before you hurt him. Great hooks to the body, great hooks up top. Has an amazingly fast uppercut, man. Just a straight up beast. He's going to come out here, hooks for days, you know what I mean? Look at that, just throwing up those nasty uppercuts. Now, we'll see if he can get this close to Devin at any point, but there's no telling that will happen, right? Because Devin is going to make sure that he does not get in the fire, right? He's going to make sure that he's careful of those hooks and those uppercuts, right? And Devin knows how to take people's tools away from them, right? That's what Devin made clear in those interviews, right? He's saying, I'm going to try to handicap him by taking away his strengths, right? So now that chess move is, will Brian Norman be able to adjust if he cannot use certain weapons that he's used to using, right? If he can't get to that hook, if he can't get to that uppercut, how will he be able to? What different tactics will he use to be able to get to where he needs to get to in the fight? That's going to be the question. What's going to happen? Let's see. November 22nd, y'all, it's going down. This guy has a lot of power. He is very dangerous on the inside, and that's going to be interesting to see. How will Devin handle someone as aggressive and powerful as Brian Norman Jr., who's going to come forward throwing hooks for days, throwing body shots, uppercuts, just trying to hurt you every single moment of the fight, man. A straight up Georgia dog who does not back down. And I'm so excited to see this fight because we really don't know who's going to win, man. This could be, you know, a squash for Haney or a total domination for Norman. We don't know, man. That's why I said this is a true 50-50 fight. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows, right? We're all just speculating. We're all putting our best foot forward. We're all saying what could speculate, right? What could happen, what should happen, what we hope to happen. We don't freaking know. But at the end of the day, we're going to find out on November 22nd. So y'all make sure y'all tune in, man. Show love and make sure you support the brothers. And it's going to be a very exciting fight, and I can't wait to watch this one. So who takes it? I'm going to ride with Haney on this one, guys. I think that Haney has the experience. I think he has the experience on the big stage. I think he's ready for his moment. And I'm really excited to see him come in with a huge threat that he can go ahead and show everyone his real level. Yeah, man, I definitely agree. I really agree with myself. But yeah, like I definitely see Devin winning this fight. That's my prediction. Of course, I probably will be doing some sort of a fight party. Maybe I'll be here with J-Rock on Saturday. Maybe I'll be Dolo. Only way to find out is to subscribe and tune in, right? But Saturday, I will definitely be watching, definitely be tuned in, trying to see, you know, what's going to happen, make sure I'm on my timing. But I do feel that Devin has the tools, and he also has the overall understanding. He's been on this stage. He's going to be able to be the one to take this to the next level. So I'm very curious to see what happens, right? Who knows, right? Who knows what's going to happen, right? We don't know. But all I know is I can't wait to watch this fight November 22nd. Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. in Rayada season, okay? This shit's gonna be lit, bro. Everyone's gonna be watching this fight, whether they care or not, because like I said, just looking at how it's trending, the numbers, people are talking about it on YouTube. It has that big fight feel to it. We're gonna see probably more coming out as we get closer to the fight. We got 2 days, right? Basically, because you know, over there in Saudi Arabia, I think they'll probably be fighting on maybe it's a Friday evening, morning, and then here it'll be Saturday type shit, or vice versa, Sunday. I don't know how it works out there, but we're gonna be able to enjoy this fight, and I can't wait. I hope you guys are tuned in and making sure that you guys are going to be watching, right? Stay locked in with your boy, man. Make sure you guys subscribe. We are on the journey right now, man. We're trying to build every day. There's new subscribers. So thank you to all the new subscribers, everyone who's been tuned in and joining the conversation. Really appreciate you guys. And to anyone who's joining now, anybody who has joined, make sure you subscribe, because like I said, we're going to keep this conversation going even after the fight, right? Because definitely we're going to be watching that fight Saturday. We're going to be tuned in and locked in. So y'all make sure y'all tuned in and locked in, man. My name is Brandon B. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And I'm out. Peace.